back to my channel. So I have mentioned in a few of my previous videos that I did used to work for a luxury department store, and of course working there comes with certain perks as well as an employee discount. And those of you guys who have picked up on this little detail about me have asked either what perks are there, what in my luxury collection did I purchase while I was working there, and of course what was the discount. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. And I no longer work there. I haven't worked there for over 5 years, so the discounts now might be completely different. I do know that there are certain things that you can no longer buy for a discount that I was able to buy for a discount, but I'm just sharing my experience. And there is like many parts to this because different times during the year there's like different sales going on. But I guess first I'll generally talk about the discount that you can get on a day-to-day basis. So generally speaking, with like some few exceptions that I'll talk about later, you can get basically 20% off the entire store, which is pretty generous. But that's actually not really when you want to be buying things, because I noticed that while I was working there, basically every other week there would be an additional discount. So the additional discount was anywhere between an additional 20% to an additional 10%. So I think like the cosmetics category was just an additional 10%, and then most everything else was an additional 20. So if you do the math, you can get like 28% of a discount on cosmetics, and then it's 36% off on like a bunch of stuff. And then to add on to that, there were also like a third tier of discount for certain categories for those specific weekends of sale. And that is basically the one like percentage that ranges so much. It ranges from like 10% to, I think like there were some times where things were like even a third additional, like 50% off. It was insane. And I did mention in like one of my previous videos, I don't remember which, but I had mentioned that like I probably developed a little bit of a shopping addiction while I worked there, because it was just like, it seemed like such great deals all the time. And like these like bi-weekly or so sales was basically something that was like repeated from year to year. Like year over year, you could expect the same sales during the same weeks. So what was funny was that like I had access to this marketing calendar that basically planned all these sales out. So I saw when all of these discounts was about to happen, and then I could basically say like, okay, this weekend I should be buying whatever, right? And of course it was also tied to like certain holiday weekends would be certain sales, and it was like amazing. It was like basically kid at a candy store for me. And I remember that the first weekend after like my start date was this crazy, like I believe it was Memorial Day sale, and that was one of those weekends where almost like across the board it was 20%, which was the standard, and then an additional 20%, and then a third additional 20%. And you had to have a store credit card that was somehow linked to like your employee ID or something like that. Like there was some identifier in whatever way. But yeah, once I started there, I applied for the store credit card, and I went pretty crazy during that first weekend of sales. The main thing that sticks out to me that I purchased that weekend was there used to be these rag and bone like booties that were like very popular. Like a lot of people had it, like a lot of celebrities had it, and that the department store just started stocking rag and bone boots, rag and bone shoes I should say, like basically shortly prior to Memorial Day weekend. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely buying this for like close to 50% off. Like this is amazing. And it wasn't even just like luxury items, like expensive items that I was buying with discounts. Like things that were, even more like fast fashion that they sold there, or like anything from like your typical cosmetics. I even bought like very expensive like luxury tights there too, for like 50% off. And yeah, I mean, it was a great discount, but one of my worst purchases ever, because luxury tights rip just as fast as your cheap tights. Like, there's no difference. Such a waste of money. I probably wasted like $500 on tights that, okay, like luxury, but not worth it. So Memorial Day was one of those like big store-wide sales, and then I believe Labor Day was also a really big one. But then what was even more amazing was that there were 2 times during the year where they basically offered employees a chance to like stock up on like professional work appropriate clothing that fit in with like the dress code for the department store. So instead of the 20-20-20 discount, it was actually 20-20-30. And off the top of my head, I think that's like close to 55% off. So that was like the most amazing discount ever. Of course, there were like limitations to what you could get. I believe it was only limited to like solid colored clothing. I don't think it could be patterned. I can't remember if there were any other limitations on it, but it applied to like any aspect of your outfit. So I remember for that, I really took advantage of buying shoes. So I'll actually show some clips of a few pairs of shoes that I remember buying with that discount, with that 55% off discount. I bought the second pair of Chanel ballet flats that I owned when I was working there. The first pair that I owned actually like completely like wore to the ground. So I bought a second pair when I was working there. I bought my Ferragamo pumps from there, as well as I have a pair of Gucci pumps and Dior pumps. And then I also had 2 pairs of Burberry boots that I also bought using that discount. Amazing. You basically pay 45% of the price, and it's actually 45% off of whatever like the current selling price was. So if it was like full price, then off of the full price, but if it was on sale, then it was tacked onto those sale prices. And then as for a few of the other items in my collection that were purchased with like a discount, I remember my 2 Burberry trench coats were purchased with like the approximately 50% off, as well as my like classic check cashmere scarf, the one in like the camel color, that was purchased with that discount too. I really tried to like wait for the biggest discount. As I mentioned, I knew what the marketing calendar was, so I knew what to expect. So most of these like big like high ticket items were purchased with like whatever it was the biggest discount I could get. So yeah, that was that. There was a few other things that I'll talk about a little bit separately, because I think those are like, they're like a bit of an exception to the norm. But first I wanted to share with you guys just some of these like kind of like outrageous discounts that you can get. So every single like time they run one of these like extra employee discounts, they would have certain categories that you could get even like more of a discount for. So just reading some of them off to you: an extra 20% off Burberry outerwear, an extra 30% off Chloe handbags. So it was like 20, 20, and then 30. That is pretty amazing. I remember I worked there during the time when was it the Nile bag? I think that's what it's called. The one that had like the little like bracelet hoop. That was when that bag was all the rage, and I was so close to getting that bag. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. That would have been, even though it's like no longer a trendy bag, if I had gotten that for like 55% off, I think that would have been, like a really worth it purchase. So there's that. Oh, this one is good. An extra 20% off Chanel shoes. And then this is, extra 20% off women's sunglasses too. 30% off David Yurman. So jewelry was one of those like exceptions where instead of like the 20 and then the additional 20, it was 20 and then additional 10. But then for this, it was like a 30% off on top of that. So it was 20% off, then 10% off, and then 30% off. I don't even want to do the math what that comes out to. And then this one was 20 and then 20 and then like almost across the board an additional 15% off. Wow. They really ramped it up for the holidays because that was related to the holidays. And then there is an additional 30% off beauty and fragrance and skincare gift sets. So that's pretty amazing. This was another holiday deal. So this, it says it comes out to 49.6% off. So it was the 20 and then 10 and then 30. 30% off Moncler, 30% off certain Burberry styles. And then there's some discounts for men's too. So there's extra 20% off men's dress shoes. And I do remember buying my husband a pair of Ferragamo shoes, which he's only ever worn them once. Only for our wedding day has he worn that. I always tell him, like, why are you not wearing this pair of shoes? There was also an extra 20% off certified pre-owned Rolex. I didn't even know that was a thing. I usually just like skip past the watch category because I still am not interested in watches whatsoever. One of the other ones that was really shocking to me was I think they did like an extra 50% off or so on certain Chanel ready-to-wear. I mean, it was like the ones that were still left over from when they did like their like semi-annual sale, but it was like some of them, if you fit the size, it was not like the worst choices. I remember I did go to take a look at what there was. Nothing was, you know, like stuff that fit me or was even I feel like appropriate for my age, but you know, like there were some like pretty significant deals, like 20 and then 20 and then 50% off. That's pretty significant. So there was that. And then I guess getting to like the juiciest part of this, what were the discounts on top tier luxury designer brands? Like for example, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, Fendi, those brands. So when I worked there, Chanel was still considered like an owned brand from the department store point of view. It's since changed because Chanel basically took over control of all their department store locations like in more recent years. But when I was working there, you could get 20% off Chanel handbags, and then during certain times you could get an additional 20% off. It did not apply to their classic flaps, but for example, I purchased my 225 size reissue when I was working there for the 36% off. I kind of wish that my salary was higher so I could have purchased more bags, but you know what? One is still better than nothing. And then for certain brands like Dior and Fendi, those were leased basis. So it was only 20% off, I believe. I did purchase my Dior tribal earrings as well as my cosmetic pouch using that discount. And Fendi, unfortunately, I bought my Peekaboo prior to working there. I should have waited. I could have gotten it for less money. And then for brands, like there were some exceptions, like Louis Vuitton did not want to give any of us employees any discounts. So Louis Vuitton was completely excluded. I did, however, still purchase my Neverfull from the location within the department store. Just because I was already there, I used to spend my lunch breaks just walking through the store. It was pretty fun. And then other exclusions were like, I think Gucci was excluded, Prada was also excluded. But yeah, that was generally speaking the discount. And then on top of that, there were also sample sales. And a lot of the times, like the buying teams would run these kind of sample sales to raise money for charities. So the company would kind of like have these like charity drives once in a while, and then kind of like the different departments would be competing against each other to raise money. And of course, the teams that were in charge of merchandising, they had such a great like head start because they had all of this stock that they could use for these sample sales to raise money. If you were willing to like dig through like a bunch of bins of items, it was like, I think you could get like designer stuff for like $5, $10 per item. Sometimes it was amazing, but honestly I didn't really have the patience to go looking for like the best deals during that. So yeah, in sort of like a nutshell, somewhat of a nutshell, this was all the perks and employee discounts that I was able to get when I was working for a luxury department store. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I guess it's always fun to like find out what different stores are offering as employee discounts. You know, we like being a little bit nosy here and there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider subscribing for new videos every single week on luxury and fashion. And I'll leave 2 videos on the screen for you to watch next. So I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.